Hey, it's Amethyst Virgo. So this video is a career reading, all right? So think of which number, all right, is drawing you in, or which color is drawing you in, what is resonating with you, or simply watch the whole video to see which set of cards resonates with you the most. So I have 6 sets of cards that have been thoroughly shuffled, and I am using, for each 6 set, there's going to be 5 cards in each to give you some guidance for where you currently are or where you need to be. All right, so we're going to start with number 1. Okay, so first one, anchor card is the 4th house. So you either need to work or are working in 4th house type of jobs. That means something that is involving nurturing or caring for others. You have to use your emotions in some way. You have to have connections with other people. Or it can mean where you work, you feel like it's like a family. It also can mean that you are in a field or career, or want to be in a field or career where you are working with or for people from your background, from your community of some sense, because the 4th house also deals with your roots and where you're from. Okay, so if you're not in a position that requires you to care or nurture others, it simply might mean you have a strong connection to jobs where you might help others like you in your demographic or people in your community, or you might go back to your neighborhood or something like that in order to assist other people. Now, the next card is your surroundings, like what's currently surrounding you, what are some current thoughts, current ideas, things of that nature. And so you have the 4 of coins in reverse. All right, so in reverse, this means whatever's going on with you right now, it's not about the money. It's not about money. You know, if you're having any worries or concerns, if you want to leave where you currently are, or you're not sure whether you want to go into a certain field or not, it's almost like as long as it is rooted in what you believe in and what you truly feel, remember 4th house is your anchor, you'll be fine, because it's really not about the money with you. Obviously, any of us would always want more money. Like, you know, though it doesn't solve all problems, it solves a lot of our problems in some cases, depending on what your issues are. But it's almost like, you know, what surrounds you is like, that's not really your concern. You're really just more worried and concerned about like where you are, where you're going, if it's really truly where you feel the most comfortable. Now, the next card is what you want. You have the High Priestess card in reverse. So she is all-knowing because she uses her intuition and she digs really deep in order to see beyond the surface. The High Priestess card is someone who is in tune with themselves spiritually enough to make decisions and feel confident enough to make those decisions. But yours is in reverse. So there is some type of emotional blockage right here. It's almost like you're not going with what is best for you, or you're not really using your intuition in the best way. And because of that, there might be some doubts that you have in regards to where you should be or where you should end up, because you might be looking around, you might be looking at what other people have, you might be looking at, you know, just certain steps in your life that you would have thought you would have accomplished by now, and you're not really there. But it's almost like a reason why you might not be there is because you don't follow your inner self, and because of that you make decisions and you find out that you should have went with what you truly thought, you know, instead of going with what other people told you or going with what you thought at the time was a good decision. Now, the next 2 cards are some general guidance cards for your situation. All right, so we have Mercury in Cancer. What I find so interesting about this is the fact that the 4th house is related to the sign of Cancer. And you also have the High Priestess here, which deals with intuition. And then we have Mercury in Cancer. And so all of this is definitely energetically linked, because what's happening right now, it's almost like communicating your feelings, getting those things across is important for you. And if you are in a position where you're able to do that, like you might be a person where being able to authentically connect with others, help others, is more beneficial to you than a career where you just do paperwork, or a career where you are solitary. You prefer to connect with other people and use your, you know, intuitive abilities, use your ability to understand and genuinely care about what's happening to other people in order to move yourself and others forward. That is what drives you. That is what intrinsically motivates you. And so Mercury here is about this communication piece and about using all of those things in order to use more of your deep down skills instead of just relying on what you've learned or want to learn. So it's more so about following your emotions, being comfortable with your emotions, and that being a driver. A lot of times people want to avoid emotions, right? And for some people that's good, but for a lot of people, like, that is what links you to other people. Not everybody can do what you do. And so if this is resonating with you, you have a certain skill and you have a a talent for being able to connect with other people, and that's a good path to be on. And another advice card is the base chakra, and this relates to, one, the base chakra being, where your spine is, and the meaning of it being about your base, your foundation, what makes you secure, what makes you feel comfortable, what makes you feel valued, what makes you feel where, very close to your origins, who you are, what drives you. And that is what you need to do. You're not somebody that's going to be happy chasing money, right? You're going to be somebody that's more is happier when you can actually make a difference. Use all that emotional energy you have in order to transfer it to your job or your occupation. All right, so next we have the second set, okay? And so first I'm going to pull. Second set is I'm going to pull your anchor card. First we have third house. Okay, third house positions, third house careers. All right, communication. So you're someone that is dealing a lot with some type of communication, learning something that involves you getting information. So those type of careers there, that's where you're headed or where you want to be. You like to speak, you like to write, you like to teach, you like to learn. All those different things are related to the third house. Now, what is surrounding you? Seven of coins. Okay, in reverse. All right, so there was a point where things didn't quite work out the way that you wanted them to work out, but it didn't stop you. A lot of times when you see this card come up, especially when it comes up in readings upright, so yours is in reverse, but if it was upright, it means just being very, concerned with your work ethic, concerned with why things aren't panning out the way you want, concerned with your ability to gain, right? But you don't really have that problem right now. It's almost like you're used to it. You're okay with it. You understand that things are not always going to happen as quickly as you want them to. Okay. And because of that, you kind of are slowing down a little bit. We see the coins and pentacles. It's like you're not rushing. You're not overly emotional. You're not trying to persuade people to do anything. You're simply just understanding that life sometimes happens and you don't always get your way, but you kind of come to peace with it right at the moment. Okay. At the moment. The next card is what you want. So what's interesting is you have the death card in reverse, and the death card means transformation. However, it's almost like you're involved in something, or whatever you're involved in, you're okay with it. Like you're not trying to necessarily change directions right now. Or there's something that you've decided where you're kind of okay where you are. You're not really worried about it. You're not, you don't want a massive change. You don't want, and people might be pushing you to do something, but you're not willing to do it. You're fine where you are right now. Whether it's your mental state, whether it's a decision that you made, whatever it is, it's almost like you're at a place of like homeostasis, and you're just like, no, this is where I am and I'm fine. I'm basking in this. I'm learning from this. I don't really need to move on right now, or I don't really need to change careers or change directions, or I don't really need what you're offering me. You also could be denying someone something. Someone might be offering you a chance to, redirect your energy to a new job or position. You're kind of like denying that. Next are some guidance cards for you. All right, so we have Saturn and Gemini, which I find interesting because when I do these readings, I'm using 5 different decks for these readings, and I shuffle through them. And how you know that you are sharing a message that someone needs to hear is like the patterns that come up, right? And so you have the third house, and the third house is connected to Mercury and Gemini. Now you have Saturn and Gemini, okay? So Saturn and Gemini, bask in what you're learning. Gemini is air, so Gemini is trying to always float. It's always trying to, Gemini energy gets the information, wants to dispense the information, wants to share with other people, and bring forth ideas and new beginnings, and really use their curiosity to drive how they're interacting with other people. But you also have Saturn here, and Saturn is slow, and Saturn can give you rewards, but Saturn's going to make you work very hard before you get any type of reward. Okay, that's what the planet Saturn does. Saturn is also related to karma. But right now, it's almost like this is saying for many of you, slow down. Whatever it is that you're doing, bask in it. Learn from your current position. Learn as much as you can in your current placement. Slow down. Okay. And so it's almost like you're okay with that though. Like this doesn't bother you. You're at a point now where you might be someone who maybe you're debating back and forth, but if this is resonating with you, it's almost like where you are right now is maybe where you should be. Now, that could change in a year. It could change in 4 months. It could change in 5 months. Remember, this energy reading is based on what is currently happening right now, based on the decisions that people have made or are currently involved in. Now, the last card you have is seek. Okay. So again, learn, find knowledge. Don't stop. This is not telling you to be comfortable where you are to the point you don't have any more goals, but it is saying that there's something rewarding about where you are right now. There's something rewarding about where you are right now. And you should definitely keep your options open, but at the same time, slow down a little bit and understand that if you work hard at where you are now, you're eventually going to see some type of reward in the end. All right. So next we have third. We have the third choice is 10th house. The 10th house is ruled by Saturn. The 10th house involves career, reputation, being at the pinnacle of your career, moving up the ladder. So if you're not at the pinnacle of your career, it could be moving up the ladder. It is about someone who is very successful, has a lot of Capricorn energy as well. Now, what surrounds you right now? You have the Ace of Wands. However, though, you want all this success. You want to move up, but there's something that you haven't done quite yet. Ace of Wands. There's a leap that you haven't taken, and I don't know if you're afraid of something right now. You're afraid of taking that chance, but there's something that has yet to be done because Ace of Wands is initiation and it's moving forward, but you are stuck because this is showing up in reverse. Now, what you want, what you truly want out of the situation, we have the 8 of Wands. So 8 of Wands, things coming your way. It's almost like you're waiting for a sign. You're waiting maybe on other people. You're waiting on things to fall through. You might be saying to yourself, well, if I wait for X, Y, and Z to happen, then I'll be, and it's almost like, well, yes, you can do that. That's what you want. Unconsciously, that's what you want, or consciously or unconsciously. It really depends on what's going on in your life, but you haven't taken a step yet. So this is kind of, now you're kind of like a sitting duck where you have to wait on other people. Yeah, you do have to wait. It's necessary for you to wait on other people, or you're waiting for conditions to change in order for you to move to a certain particular place in your career. Now, the next 2 cards are your guidance cards. What should you do next? We have Saturn in Virgo. So Virgo is an earth sign, and it deals with being detail-oriented and analytical and really understanding the process and breaking it down. Saturn is interesting that it showed up in your reading because Saturn rules the 10th house. It's associated with the 10th house. And Saturn is associated with Capricorn energy, all right? So there's a lot of earth energy here with you. There's also these wands. So it's also some action that could have happened, some things that might not have happened as quickly as you would have wanted them. But again, for any of you that this is resonating with, it's almost like there's something that you did not do that kind of is keeping the situation stagnant for the moment. Now, Saturn in Virgo is just requiring you to pause and really consider and think through everything first. Really dive deep into what it is that you truly have to do and truly have to accomplish, right? Because it's almost like, because you waited, because there was a step that wasn't taken yet and was around you, or you're just waiting, like, not taking that initiation. Now I don't want to say it's back to the drawing board, but for some people now it's like, now be strategic. Saturn is strategic and Virgo is detail oriented. So for you guys, it's like, what's your next strategy? Be really smart about what it is that you really truly want and what next step are you going to take. All right. And you also have this card here, trust. You have to trust the process, but it's also part of this is, I think this is more so for you guys, that you need to trust yourself. You can do what it is that you want. You have this card here, the 10th house card. This is a card, dealing with success and dealing with, reputation and moving up and being successful career-wise. It's literally what the 10th house is about, career. But at the same time, there were some decisions that needed to be made that weren't made, some actions that fell through. And so it's really about this ability for you to trust yourself and your inner guide and not necessarily always wait for other people to rock the boat. And you sometimes have to rock the boat yourself and be very strategic. All right, next we have our 4s. All right. 5th house. All right, my 4s. Okay, 5th house is about fun, but let's think about career, okay? The 5th house, when we're talking about career, the 5th house is dealing with creativity, humor, children, acting, being a comedian, creating content, singing, musician, whatever it is you can think of that's a creative type of career is what the fifth house is related to when we're talking about jobs, okay? We're talking about positions and jobs, we're talking about career, okay? And so you're someone where maybe you're looking more into developing your talents and sharing your talents with the world. Next card is going to be what's around you right now. So right now, for many of you, the Six of Cups is actually, you know, you might have stopped doing what you love for a while. Now you're back at it. You know, you're thinking of things from the past that you loved and that you enjoyed and how you can make those things a reality now. You're kind of at a positive point in, even if it's like emotionally you feel fine. Emotionally you feel inspired. You're still waiting for some things to follow through, but it's almost like you have a really optimistic mindset about this new endeavor or whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish creatively. The next card is what you want. Now, what you want can be conscious or it can be unconscious. So sometimes these are things that you haven't even understood. This is what you truly have been thinking and what you need. And so we have the Faith card. And in this deck, we're dealing with advice, people who know, wiser people, you know, having a belief system. But in this particular case, it's almost like some of you need a mentor. Like some of you need someone who's either in the field that you want to go into, or you need guidance of some sort. You might have a lot of restless energy, and that would be more maintained. It would be more directed if you kind of go to someone older or someone wiser or someone who's a mentor or someone who's done what it is that you're trying to do. The next two cards are advice cards. You have Mercury and Aries, which I think is interesting because the fifth house is a fire house and Aries is a fire sign. All right. And so Mercury and Aries is telling you that you use your mind, like use your ability to think through and trying new things out. When you see Mercury and Aries, that typically means a Mercury and Aries person, let's just think about like what the sign literally means. A Mercury and Aries person wants to try everything. You know, they learn something and then they want to immediately apply it. Okay, I learned that. Now let me try it. Now let me try it. You know, they're not someone who wants to sit and soak in books all the time, but this is a person who actually wants to do it. And so I think that you have to be a little bit more open and a little bit more spontaneous. When you have an idea, try it out, see how people like it. You know, take the ideas that you have and actually move them forward. Take your ideas and be really smart about how you're going to get them across to other people, especially if you're a fifth house person or you're a fifth house career type of person and you really want to, this is resonating with you. The last card is strengthening bonds. And that is definitely why I said what I said earlier. And I think this all lines up. Mercury is about communication. This card here, these all deal with other people. All these cards deal with the external, right? And so here, mentorship, strengthening bonds. In order to get what you want out of this career or this, you know, for some of you might be like, hey, I want a second career, or hey, I want a career on the side, whatever the case may be. You got to strengthen your relationships with other people. Other people are going to be the key. So that whether that's a connection that you have, a mentor, someone who's done it before, this is going to be key to you moving forward. And next we have our fives. Okay, fives. Your anchor card, career, ninth house. So you want to be a ninth house career person, or you're involved in ninth house dealings. So ninth house, yes, it says faith. Ninth house, we're also dealing with spiritual law, spiritualism, philosophy, learning, long distance travel, foreign places, new ideas. So it's a very expressive, exploratory type of house. The ninth house does not restrict, it wants to learn, but it wants to spread that. So it's not like Gemini, where it's just a lot of curiosity in the third house of communication. The ninth house is like, here's the information. How do I spread it among the masses? How do I use this information to inspire others? All right. So the next card is what's around you. Eight of Cups. Now, you could be doing this. You could want to do this, but there's something you're not willing to let go. And so for some of you, this is resonating with, it's almost like there's something holding you back. There's something you're not willing to sacrifice in order for this dream or this career to come true. Or you might be called on to sacrifice something. So maybe someone's asking you to change an aspect of your life in order for you to have the career or position that you desire. The next card is what you want. And this can be conscious or it can be unconscious, right? This is what you want. You have the Ten of Swords. So typically we see the Ten of Swords as deals with like being an emotion, and not emotional necessarily, but mental anguish, feeling that you need others, feeling that you need rescue, feeling that you need help, feeling that you're kind of at a loss. You don't know what to do. You need someone to support you. And so, but yours is in reverse. So it's almost like you're afraid of opening up to other people. Like you're not really willing. You're not willing to open yourself up. You're not willing to, there's some part of your life that you may have not gotten over, and you're stunning yourself because ninth house is deep. Ninth house is intense. Okay. Ninth house wants to explore, and they want to know the reasoning, the purpose behind things. They learn the philosophy and all these different things. But it's almost like you have a lot of emotional and mental blocks that are kind of stopping you from really being as successful as you could be in your particular career. And again, when I say career, yeah, it can mean your current job. It can mean where you're supposed to be or what you desire. But it also simply could also mean a second career or an additional career. It doesn't mean you're always going to quit your job right tomorrow, but it can mean something else that you're doing to further yourself. And so for you, it's like your wants and what's happening right now to you is like you're not willing to give something up, but at the same time, it's like you're afraid to admit that you want help. So I think for some of you, it's like you're not willing to put yourself out there, and maybe there are other people, or maybe people will be really receptive to what you want to do, especially if you're a ninth house person and it's something to do with spiritualism, right? Faith, things like that. You're not opening yourself up. And so it makes it very hard for you to feel that you're inspired enough to do something to help other people. Now, here are your advice cards. Just do it. Sun in Sagittarius. So first of all, this is how I know when I do readings that this message is for someone, because I see the patterns and the energy lines up. So the ninth house is ruled by Jupiter, but it's also related to Sagittarius. And in your advice card, you have Sagittarius. And so this is definitely matching up for you guys. Explore. Let go of fears. A lot of time, think about your fear. And for the most part, especially when it's something that isn't life or death, right? If you just did it, it probably wouldn't be as bad as you think it is going to be, you know? And sometimes letting go of that fear is like, all it takes is for you to do one little baby step, and then you realize, wow, this isn't so bad. And then you take an even bigger step and an even bigger step, and then you're finally where you want to be. And so for you guys, you know, when you see Sun and Sagittarius, they aren't restricted. They're optimistic. Sagittarius energy can be very optimistic. Now it's very purposeful. And so that's where you'll get the very blunt part of Sagittarius, where Sagittarius is like, I know my purpose. I know what I'm here to do, and I'm not taking any other way out. And that's where you get like the reputation for the Sagittarius blunt, or, you know, being kind of, you know, that can kind of, you know, be difficult in some ways, you know, brash, not really compromising in some aspects. But it's also because they see their purpose. They know the purpose of something, and it's very hard for them to turn directions when they feel inspired to do something. But this is telling you, just do it. And yes, there might be some things along the way. But again, remember this. Do we have to be perfect people in order to help other people? We do not. We are always evolving. We are always changing. We are always learning. And you should always be learning throughout your life. And so don't think you have to be perfect in order to help other people or to move forward in your career. And last card, success and growth. You know, that is definitely optimal, and it's definitely possible. You have to let go of your fear and capture some of that, tap into that Sagittarius energy, you know, manifest, do some mantras, you know, light some candles, do whatever it is you need to do in order to let go of those things that are causing you to be fearful, because there is a lot of potential with your situation. All right. And last we have 6. Okay. 7th house. Okay. So you're at the base, you know, you're someone who either wants to or is involved in or would be best working with other people. Your ability to relate to people is really strong. And some people are a people person. And because they're a people person, they do well in positions where they have to maybe, they're business partners with someone, or they have to sell things to people because they're able to tap into other people's motivations and interest them and engage them. Or they're a salesman or saleswoman, or you're someone who, you know, you're counseling, or you're a marriage counselor or something like that, where you have to like somehow connect with other people in order to do your job. You have to relate to them, conversation. You have to partner up with people in order to get things done. Now, what's currently around you right now, Queen of Cups, you know, some of you might actually be in those positions right now. Queen of Cups, she's very nurturing and she's very caring, this archetype here. And she's very, you know, open and caring, and, you know, she'll listen to you. So for some of you, that's why I said some of you might be involved in some type of counseling or some type of career where you have to come together with other people and debate or discuss or help people through conversation. And so I'm saying this around you right now. Either this is you or this is like the current type of job that you're in, that you're trying to get in. Okay. You want that warmth. You like human connection. You're not someone who necessarily wants to sit behind a computer all day. You're someone who wants to deal with other people and help them and throughout your career goals. The next card is what you want. What you want might be conscious, like this could be something that you're aware of or something that you're unaware of, right? And so right now we have for you the Seven of Cups. So the Seven of Cups is illusion. It relates to us having daydreams, and it relates to us not really seeing things clearly and kind of being in kind of a fantasy world or kind of like a fog. And since yours is in reverse, it's almost like some of you may have come to a difficulty lately, like you're not quite sure anymore what's real and what's not. You might be questioning things a lot. You're not you might feel that you're asking yourself now, is this really for me? Is this realistic? Is this what I truly want? Have I been fooling myself all around? So for some of you, there might have been like a recent change, especially since there's a lot of retrogrades going on right now. A lot of planets are in retrograde. Not a lot. It's three planets. Not a lot. But, you know, for some people, this is causing some people to rethink things and reevaluate what's going on in their life. The next two cards are your advice cards, like likelihood of if you positively channel your energy, what could happen. You have the Sun in Cancer. Okay, so which is interesting because you have cups, you have two cups. So this is definitely a warmth vibe with you. Your career or where you're supposed to be definitely involves other people and emotions and connections, okay? Because you have the seventh house, which is the house of partnership. You have cups, which relate to emotions or water signs, Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancer. And now you have the Sun in Cancer. And so I think if you're working in any career where you are engaged with others, like that is where you're supposed to be. And so I know that you've been feeling some doubts from you lately and you're just not sure what's real and what's not. But the advice card is like, go back to the source of like how you feel. What makes you feel at home? Remember, when you see Cancer energy, it needs to feel secure. It needs to feel that it can trust. And when it trusts, then it opens up emotionally. And so the Sun in Cancer is reminding you to really center yourself on what is going to make you feel the most emotionally secure. Is where you work or where you're working right now making you feel that way? Do you feel emotionally drained? Do you feel that the people you're working with are making you emotionally drained? Or is there an opportunity there for you to maybe take over some type of position where you're kind of taking the lead in regards to, you know, whatever job you're in, right? Sun in Cancer, you're thinking of nurturing, but also someone who's able to command emotions, right? By command emotions, like people thrive off how your emotions are. That's why people don't understand, like Cancers can be really good leaders because they understand people emotionally. And when you can understand people emotionally, you're going to get more out of people. Sometimes, depends on the other energy. But I think people underestimate a lot of signs. And I think people underestimate the fact, first of all, Cancer is a cardinal energy. So cardinal energies already have that natural leadership kind of embedded, right? They're moving forth. And so if you're basically able to care, nurture, and be in a position where you're able to feel at home where you are, and you're able to feel that you're making a difference, and that you are truly, you know, able to connect with the people that you're around, you're on the right path. And the last card for you is listen. So for some of you, it's like you have to listen to other people. And when you listen, you're going to get the information that maybe before you were making up in your head, right? So before you might have been in a situation where, you know, sometimes people create their own realities, right? And so sometimes we're assuming, oh, this person said this to me. They were trying to say that I don't do X, Y, and Z. It's like, no, actually, maybe the person was just saying that to you, but you misinterpreted because everyone's point of view is different. And sometimes we have conversations with people and we realize we were not even on the same page, that something was misinterpreted, and that we have to actually draw back and listen to one another. And that comes to place with the seventh house. You know, I think you're good. As long as you're doing these things, just understand, like, yeah, there might be some difficulties or hiccups along the way, but as long as you center yourself and remember, like, sometimes you do have to use emotion, not just logic. Seventh house always wants to use logic sometimes. Sometimes you do have to use your emotion, your ability to relate authentically with people, not just relating on a surface level through conversation. All right. So if any of this resonated with you, please hit the like button. Thank you for watching. Please also feel free to check any of my playlists. I've started a new playlist for sun and moon combinations, and I also have finished the children and astrology playlist. Thanks.